Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome back for another weekly broadcast. This is Merissa Indigo of Divine DNA Blueprint and Holistic Mystic Mermaid Wellness. Going to share my new website address in there as the former website is still under construction. Here to bring you another weekly support podcast going from quantum navigation and cosmic perspective, little planetary star talk. Welcome to Eclipse Week. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Been very, very intense. I think I may have mentioned, maybe in some of the few podcasts before this, that this eclipse is on my south node, pretty much right on my birth chart. And I knew it was going to be intense, but I didn't know how. So I'm a day late and I apologize for that. But this is going to be a great podcast. We're going to be covering the energies of October 1st. Welcome to October, everybody. Rabbit, rabbit, welcoming in all that benefic energy for this month to come. So we're going to be talking about the energies, going pretty deep into the eclipse. I'm going to share some of my own real life karmic underpinnings, which is why the podcast is late, because I had to spend all of Monday going to different forests and grounding myself to essentially go through a lot of karmic creations that were coming from unconsciousness, from my south node. And it's perfect because that's the theme of the week. So this is going to be covering from the 1st of October to the 7th of October. So welcome everybody. Let's take a deep breath here. Just inviting you to inhale, just take a pause. Exhale all that shit out. Just let it all out. Definitely inviting you to use humor through this experience. If you've never checked out the Fuck That meditation, I highly recommend it. It's only a few minutes long. It's hilarious. It assists us to kind of depersonalize and expand our view, our perception of all of the massive growth and all of the information and all of the intensity and where you may feel under pressure, all these things to help us to balance, to harmonize, to bring back that equilibrium that is Libra season, right? The balance of the scales of divine justice and sacred integrity so that we can balance some fun here with the madness. There's a lot of chaos at play, and we want to talk about chaos with eclipse season being a very fertile ground for us for change. So let's talk about the energies going into this week here. You may have been observing like, oh my goodness, I did not sign up for this, or seeing where changes need to be made or where adjustments need to be made all across the board in your life, every aspect of your reality as a spiritual being having a human experience, right? And to go more in depth on that quantum navigation, I do invite you to check out the podcast episode I did especially for the equinox, because those energies are at play the entire season of Libra, this entire month until we get into about the 22nd of October. It's all Libra energy, and that podcast for the equinox will greatly support you in looking more in depth at the 12 main aspects of the human experience, from inner world to outer world, internal to more social, everything, right? Money, career, all of it, body. And you may be seeing now, oh my God, look what I created in unconsciousness. How did I get here? And when we talk about, I didn't sign up for this, well, somewhere along the lines, unconsciously, we did. Right? So that can be very confronting to look at, like, oh my God, really? I'm still creating from that bullshit program. Like, wow, really? And you want to abstain from judgment. In Libra season, it's easy to go into judgment. Just put that down. Instead, come to gratitude and appreciation, because you are expanding. Your light quotient is increasing. Your divine intelligence is increasing. You're able to see more. That's all this is. So you don't have to beat yourself up. None of that kind of stuff, for making a mistake. And that can be a huge one. Some of us, depending upon your formative years, making a mistake could feel and just bring forth the greatest terror for your mortality and feel like a threat to your security and your livelihood, all of it. And with this, there's a lot of Venus energy. Libra is ruled by the planet Venus. So we're going to get into a little bit of star talk, a little bit of galactic lineage heritage here when we talk about the Venusians. This whole process this week is bringing forth your inner cosmic connection, your galactic DNA, to your heritage of your inner Venusian, because everyone has a Venusian. Everyone has a Venus somewhere. within you. And it's all about divine harmony, divine order. So the Venusian laws are bringing forth that beautification of your entire reality. So where this can be confronting is where you're seeing contrasting elements of that. Like, oh, this is some dark shit. This is some ugly shit. This is the seedy underbelly of my subconscious coming out in my face, and I've got to make some changes. I've got to make some decisions here. You want to be really aware this week. This week of the eclipse here, the 1st to the 7th, is all about the internal, how did I create this? So it could be very easy on the initial reaction to things to point the finger, to blame. They did this. I'm in this mess because I grew up with this and I'm recreating it and blah, blah. Yeah, and we signed up for it, right? So come back to empowerment, empower, and the fact that you're seeing. Because when you see, you're free, right? Let freedom ring. Watch out for that analysis paralysis. Don't worry about making decisions in the outer ring, the concentric circles of the quantum perspective of your life. You have your own internal reality, your own internal landscape, right? That's what we're working with this week only. Only the inside. Unless, here's the caveat, which I'm always seeming to be the example of the asterisks in the situation, right? When we try to say, you know, try to make something hard and concrete, unless it's unsafe, like literally truly unsafe or threatening to your being, where something is so toxic you've got to just exit. Unless that's your situation, which I'll go more in depth upon in a little bit to share. This is why I didn't get to do the podcast on Monday, because I had to deal with a lot of shit that I created, you know, and it was a lot. I was very upset. It'll take you to all kinds of places. Self-trust. How could I create this? How can I trust myself to create healthy, insert whatever, right? So unless you're in an unsafe situation, like truly unsafe, and I'm not talking about a psychological one where you could be subconsciously sabotaging yourself in a situation. I'm talking about actual endangerment of yourself or another person. Unless that's your situation, then next week is going to be the external communication with others. So this week is all about uncovering, reestablishing a sacred connection with yourself, the holy marriage, or the hieros gamos, as they call it in the occult practices, where you are marrying your higher self and committing inside of yourself. And so that's this Venusian sacred law, the Libran, all of these beautiful qualities of the Libra, of the balance, of the harmony, is your sacred marriage to yourself. And so I want to pay homage or tribute to Christopher Witecki of Serious Joy. Love him so much. He's an evolutionary astrologer and psychic and just amazing being. And he has been supporting the collectives through this concept of sacred marriage, marrying yourself. So what are your sacred vows, right? To yourself. And where I've been coming and calling it for my own, how it's been coming through me, is what are the laws of the land of your sacred universe, of your kingdom that is your being, that is your soul from the inside out, right? And how that is translating or being transcribed through your actions, through your energy, through your presence from the inner world into the outer world, how it is being reflected back to you. So what you could be working through right now are a lot of reflections where things just are not working out. Who is the new you? So now we're going to tie back. We are going to collapse time. We're going to go back to the April eclipse. I think it was April 19th. And it had to do with Aries energy, which is the self, the spark of soul. It's the first sign in the zodiac, and it is all about identity. And at that time, we were working with Chiron, which is where are all of our wounds, and how the wounding and all of the different error programming, if you want to call it that, all of the experiences led us to create a false identity that was more reactive, defensive, you know, oh, I don't trust people because these things happened when I was little, so all people are bad. Any of those kind of like hard and fast rules that don't really apply. That eclipse was all about finding our authentic self free from the bullshit. And now this eclipse is mirroring it. And on the wheel of the zodiac, Libra and Aries are opposites because it's about balancing the individual with sacred divine law, harmonic, right? So you have Mars and Venus. So self and the collective, and also internal masculine and feminine qualities within each being. So here we are on the flip side with these Venusian energies. And okay, I know who I am now. And you know what? I was trying to make myself fit into something that's old paradigm, that's not a fit for me anymore. And it's actually causing a lot of issues in my health, my psychological well-being, my energy, my light body. I'm actually not really serving the higher realms or the new earth paradigms by engaging in this and tolerating this anymore. This is actually a compromise at soul level. Changes need to be made, right? And so again, next week, most likely for the majority of people, is when the changes are made, when the communications. Make sure that you're practicing diplomacy this week in any communications that you have to partake in. And here are some other little snippets coming into the heart center, right? So what does the heart say about this versus the mind? The mind is very good at causing pain because it rationalizes. Well, you have to do this, you have to do this way. This is what people do, and it's like, well, let's expand beyond to find a way that is more balanced and harmonic and in integrity at a soul level with your being and your needs on all levels. So you could have some sensations of turbulence here if your mind and your heart are not aligned. And that's why I invite you to go back to that equinox podcast, because we go in depth so that you can really see all the intricate aspects of your being to see, well, where are they not aligned? Because this is the time of a deep gutting out of our old karma, our old programs. The South Node is basically the tail end of the dragon. And what comes out of the tail end of any creature? Waste. Right? So it's time to kind of do a purge, a detox here at an etheric level and a psychic and emotional level and a behavioral level, where we're going to be changing a lot of behaviors that are based off of past life trauma, or past life, not even in other timelines, but this one, because they're all collapse into this one. People love to go around and talk about, oh, in this life and in this life and in this life. Guess what? They're all here now because you're fucking talking about them right now. So deal now. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's can be very confronting, like I shared. Look, where do you feel? I didn't sign up for this. This is based off some old trauma patterning shit that I can't believe I'm still holding, but thank you for showing me. And no, thank you. I'm done with this. Next. Swipe. Next. Keep on that up and up, keep coming up. And it's really about watching where any sabotages have happened, any emotional breakdown, and just being really real with yourself, laying all your cards out on the table. Okay, I created this from unconsciousness. That's okay. I made a mistake. I'm allowed to do that. I'm growing, right? I'm learning. I'm evolving. I'm committed to this journey. I also want to share for anyone who's going through health stuff or stuff with their body, which can be very confronting and very scary, right? There's a lot of rectification of galactic timeline stuff in this life, right? Where we have to go into an appointment and it's kind of scary and it feels like, okay, this is just so traumatizing. A lot of people are clearing galactic trauma of different timelines of experimentation, all kinds of stuff. And it's all here now. Also, for those who are going through health things and you're waiting to know what it is, make sure you don't give your power over to the diagnosis. Information, knowledge is power, so that if you get a name for something, you can start to research, what is this? What's involved in this in my body system? What are the metaphysical components? What are the different elemental components here? And how can I use ancient wisdom and amazing alternative remedies to bring myself into a harmonic balance? Because all health issues start in the etheric realms of mindset and emotion, right? So these are essentially just thought forms that are not authentic. They're not really yours. And they've crystallized, right? We took them on as truth, even though they were lies, and they crystallize and are showing up in a dense form through the physical system, right? So if you are here and you feel passionate about being here and you want to be here, and you love being here and this process, and you're a light worker and a change agent, you are of service, whatever that means for you. The earth is not going to punish you and cause you to continue to experience suffering and pain. That's a lot of bullshit. That's a huge program we all have to surrender. Oh, I made mistakes, That goes back to deep patriarchal programming. I'm a sinner, so I have to self-flagellate myself by being ill. No, it's time to take our power back from all of that. You are fully privileged and honored and allowed to feel the truth of your worthiness and your preciousness, and to start to entertain what perfect health would feel like for yourself. And this is coming from someone, myself, an expert through lived experience from childhood, near-death experiences, autoimmune issues, surgeries. I have scars all over my body from medical stuff gone wrong, okay? Pharmaceutical stuff causing imbalances, all because of the toxicity I was holding within myself at a young age that was affecting, it was all about my belief systems, affecting physical systems. And once I saw through that, bam, spontaneous remission. That is the truth for all of us. So it's time to take our power back from anything like that. So let's move on now into honoring the self. What are your sacred commitments to yourself? And back to what Christopher Witecki was talking about, this sacred marriage, right? Or the Hieros Gamos, the holy marriage, the divine union within, with yourself and your higher self. What are your commitments? What are your vows? He is encouraging us to actually write vows for this eclipse. So I've been working through those all week. It's like, okay, so, you know, when we idealize a partner and this idea of a being outside of ourself, a soul outside of ourself, well, who is that partner, so that we can be that for ourself, whether we are partnered or not in the physical with another soul. And if you're looking to attract that, well, you still have to do the work within anyway, right? So what are some wonderful qualities in a partner for yourself to be your ideal partner? Loyalty, kindness, unconditional love, recognition, right? Feeling seen, feeling like it's safe to be your authentic self. You're not going to be judged for being free and being your true self. As weird as that is, that kind of brings in some of that Aquarian energy of let your freak flag fly and be yourself, and not in a way, of course, that's damaging or harmful to others, but your own pure, unique soul expression. As an artist, as a creative, I believe, I call us all artists because we all have Venus, we all have a soul, we all are inspired by something. So art can come through many, many forms, but time itself and how we use energy and how we use our time, the concept of time, our days, is all an art form, right? And it's all coming from the heart. So the art that is in your heart is your beingness, is your consciousness, is your consistent becoming, right? A being coming every day, changing, shifting, evolving, growing, seeing, clarifying, all of these things. You could see endings, you could see leaving, you could have some elements of some kind of, oh wow, this is making waves, you know, some shock. You may see people getting fired, you may quit, you may see people quitting, you may see people fly off the handle. These are all just showing you where we can return back to the self to choose, you know, more prudently, right? Or with more discernment. So loving ourselves more and more and more, being faithful to ourselves and loyal to ourselves. And where we see these breakdowns is where we or others have abandoned themselves unconsciously. So I'll go into some story time now and share my experience. I shared with you guys, okay, I got a job. Well, I was there for a month, and last week was really intense with some pretty unsafe encounters with various individuals that are homeless. And there's a difference between people who are down on their luck and want to do the right thing to get a leg up and get out of a situation, and those who are choosing to be lawless, right? And take advantage of the system and essentially use and sell drugs and engage in really low forms of exchange of currency. So we're talking about drugs, we're talking about prostitution, you know, using your body as currency for drugs, like these people that are really suffering and do not have good self-confidence. Well, I had continual escalations all week at work, having to call the police. It's now unbelievable too, like, but so not, because this is how the matrix system is set up. It's set up so that there are holes, so that the infrastructure is not interconnected, so that every jurisdiction, every entity you call, oh, well, you need to call law enforcement for that. Oh, you need to call the Department of Licensing for that. Oh, you need to call homeless outreach for that. It just goes round and round and you don't get anywhere. And in the meantime, public safety is suffering, right? So I'm here in the middle of all of this and starting to get kind of like, this is really uncomfortable. These people are refusing to leave. Finally, I had an escalating situation on my Friday, which is Saturday, where a woman that was maybe on meth, she was definitely on some kind of a substance that is more of an amphetamine, because she was super agitated. I'm just sitting at my desk and she comes barging into the office, screaming at me and saying all these things because she thought in her paranoid state and her drug-induced psychosis that I was speaking to her through the security system out front. And I was just like, oh my God, you know, and she was really combative and I was scared for my safety. So I had to lock the door and lock myself in the office and call the police. The police are too busy dealing with another situation, right? That's the other thing. There's not enough funding for all of these organizations to actually be able to do their job on multiple accounts. So they can only put out one fire at a time when there's 200 fires going on in the area, you know, in a matter of speaking. So crisis came. There's like the crisis, I can't remember the name of it right now, but a man pulled up in a van, not a police officer, but someone that will come when someone's in psychological distress because of using substances, right? And the lady's really incoherent. She's screaming and like hitting her car and like screaming at no one. You know, she's in a psychosis right now with this substance. Then he takes a picture of her license plate. She gets in her car and drives away. So someone on that kind of a substance is now driving around, you know, and I was just like, yeah, I'm really not feeling safe. I'm really tired of not feeling safe. And I'm alone, you know, most of the day. I have to walk around the property, lock things up. Like, it's like, you know, so I decided to quit. So I had to go through yesterday back and forth, back and forth. Here's the Libra rolling from one extreme to the next. And you hear that song, should I stay or should I go now? Right? And what is it? If I go, there will be trouble. If I stay, there will be double. I might be, you know, mixing that up. But either way, it felt like both solutions were kind of hard because you need to have a job to supplement, right? Is what we're told, right? And is what we're doing. We're willing to do that, you know, to support the family. But yet, is it loving to put yourself in an unsafe situation where you feel threatened and you're all alone and you're quite vulnerable and you kind of feel like a sitting duck? Is that healthy? And I had to look at all of that and be like, oh my fucking God, goddess. I've recreated childhood trauma of having to feel on edge and have my nervous system on edge in a trauma state because I'm looking over my shoulder all the time because of the people that are constantly walking around the property, walking on the property, barging in, living around it on the street, knowing that I'm alone from, you know, the whole day. And I was just like, you know, this is just not it. You couldn't pay me enough for this. And I wasn't getting paid enough anyway. I was just willing to do what I could get. So there's so many levels here, right, of where we can upgrade. So then I had to communicate, you know what? I don't feel safe. I've had experiences before as a woman. I don't feel safe. Then you have the men that are very kind. They're good people, but they're men. They don't understand what it's like to be a woman who has experienced assault on multiple levels or to feel threatened as a woman, right? They expect you to just act like them, call the police, deal with the police, you know, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of different. It's kind of different to like have a lot of different parties around having, you know, their hanging out front of the business and you're all alone on the property and they know you've been calling the cops on them several times a day. Like there's an antagonistic energy there. I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to feel like I'm going to war with the homeless people, like, or with the people that are, you know, working through substance issues. Like that's not, I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to be assistant manager of this, like not to deal with all of that. Like, and I was fine with dealing with it for several weeks until it continued to escalate. So then I had to go back and forth yesterday. Okay, should I continue to deal or should I continue to go into this situation that feels unsafe? How much more of an escalation do I need to have? Because it keeps escalating in energy of people yelling or that woman finally actually barging into the office. Like that's a breach of a boundary, right? It's different than if I was outside and someone attacked me. Now I'm inside being attacked. So I was like, no, fuck that. I didn't sign up for that and I'm worth more than that. And I don't need to put myself in a situation that makes me feel unsafe. So of course there are varying degrees of this, right? A lot of us have to look, you know, be really real with yourself. There's a difference between, you know, different levels of safety. So look at this, but where do the changes need to be made? Where are you seeing, holy shit, what kind of monster have I been to myself unconsciously? And now I'm seeing it in the reflections around me. And now I have to choose, okay, how am I going to deal with this? So for me, it's remove myself from the physical threatening situation and dive deeply within my being to see where the fuck am I creating this from, right? So these are very confronting times of the process, but that's why we're here. That's why we're together, is to be really open and transparent. This is a quantum process. You want to look at all the layers. You want to look at the reactions, the responses, the finger pointing and the blaming where we want to put it outside first. No, they did this. No, I created this. How did I do it? How do I not do that again? And the answer that I got is that these breakdowns only happen when we have unconsciously abandoned ourselves. So when everyone talks about being the presence, today I got a wonderful clarification more on what that means, which is part of that sacred partnership, the part of that holy union of yourself, is that you're so aligned with yourself, your higher self, your inner being, your soul awareness, that omnipotent consciousness, omniscience, that you have the information come to you to know if something's aligned. Even if it's not necessarily all the details behind the information, but just an impression, you'll get a feeling in your gut maybe, or, you got to explore where in your body do you receive information. Sometimes people get tension, like me, I'll get tension in my solar plexus, or kind of like in my stomach, or I'll feel like I can't breathe. I'll feel like there's pressure on my chest or even on my throat. Like the body will tell me energetically, like, this is constrictive, this isn't it, right? Versus, oh yes, this is very free flowing and comfortable and peaceful and soft and open and nurturing, right? So you want to kind of use that as a navigation. And then we're fully aware. So we're not making choices from lack of consciousness, right? Or separation or desperation. It's like the focal point, the point of creation of everything we're doing and choosing has to be with full awareness. So inviting you to come back into writing the laws of your land, of your kingdom. In my kingdom, it is safe. It is harmonic. It is beautiful. It is abundant. We are reciprocating. Everyone loves, their hearts are open. They take a responsibility. All of these different parameters that we're applying to ourselves first, and then allowing that to flow out, into around. And really the main part of this whole message is our realities are relational. We are so powerful as creator beings that we're either creating consciously or unconsciously. And where we create unconsciously is going to blow up in our faces, right? That's that chaotic element. Ultimately, it's nothing to fear. It's a lot to have to deal with, and it's exhausting. You may need to purge and cry and stomp your feet, have a tantrum, work it out. What the fuck, universe? Work it through. Do what you got to do, right? And then you come to that place of peace when you've worked through the turmoil inside. Say, okay, I take responsibility. How did I create this? Please show me, universe. Thank you so much. What's next? And with this week, you may not receive action steps yet, right? So let it percolate. Just see, be grateful to see, to be shown. What a gift to see and to be free and to be able to choose. Maybe you don't get the full answers of the action steps to take until next week. Maybe you do, but don't be attached. Okay, God, this has to change and this has to change. And oh my God, this too. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. That was me yesterday. I don't know what to do. Right. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So am I going to keep looping that thought over and over thinking it's going to give me something? Or am I going to put it down, surrender, right? And go on a walkabout. And so that's what I did. My goal was to look for mushrooms for chanterelles. And by the time I got to the first forest, universe was like, yo, you think you're looking for mushrooms on a conscious level, but really you're here to intimately root in with Gaia and enjoy and be so fixated on the forest floor that you are really imbibing the elemental qualities of the grounding and the nourishment and the fertility of the soil, right? And the beautiful leaves and all the shifts. And I saw a million kinds of mushrooms, just not the ones I wanted, right? Not the edible ones, right? But it was a form of meditation for me to think on a conscious level. I'm thinking I'm looking for mushrooms, but really what I'm doing is I'm finding myself. I'm finding my truth again and my stability again after having a really, really gnarly, full terror trauma response through my body, adrenaline rush, nervous system, all of it. So you could have experiences that cause that. There's a lot going on with Mars where we can feel that, there's a heat, blood pressure, nervous system. It could feel like there's this aggressive energy when it may not even actually be there in your face. It's just a feeling. It's kind of part of this pressurization, right, of these diamond codes. Anywhere where there's still that charcoal inside of us, it's getting squeezed out. So surrender, go with the flow, listen deeply, be present. And I got this beautiful visual as I was just kind of centering myself before recording for y'all today. And I want to share this visual because this will assist. This is for all of us to just see a beautiful white diamond shape at the center of your chest, at your heart chakra. And that white diamond is glowing and it's just so bright, this light, so bright. And it forms into a shaft of light going forward and through your body and behind you. This shaft of light, this diamond white light, brilliantly illuminating. It's a blinding white light. That is you. That is the light that you are. That is the presence that you bring. That is the power that you are when you align and really condense and focus and come back to that love, right? So just remember how piercing that light is, going through, behind, forward. And then you want to expand that to radiate out 360 degrees. So then you're this giant orb, and you're in an orb, and it's all coming from the center of your heart. So we want to get more comfortable with owning that. We are it. Because in the olden days, we were invoking the energies above us, right? Reaching up above. And I still do that, of course. Of course, I'm reaching to the cosmos. I'm reaching to the sun to pour down and through me. And Gaia, I'm reaching down for her to come up and through me. So I'm always running those currents, upward flow and downward flow, upward flow and downward flow. But now we're adding on that it's beaming. You know, it's time to beam up from the inside, that we are it. There's nothing higher or above us. It's actually deep inside where the higher realms are, right? So just want to assist you to get more comfortable with this enormous atomic power of love, of light that is within your chest. It's radiating out. And make sure you're doing your practices, opening the chakras in the soles of your feet as you walk around, you know, to receive and exchange with Gaia. Opening the chakras in the palms of your hands to receive and to flow out with these energies, right? Heart open, 100%. Root open and down, plugged in, 100%. So you want to open all of the chakras and really connect and open the crown, 100%. So it's just like so much light is just radiating throughout your being. And that will assist you to continue to come home to balance and to know what decisions. And again, sometimes it's just knowing that change needs to be made and that something isn't aligned as the first step, and you just have to own that. And until you're done owning that and feeling comfortable with that, and that doesn't bring fear, right, or any kind of negative feeling, when you're at peace with that awareness, then the solutions will come. So just remember not to push, you know, for the solutions. Also, I meant to say this at the beginning of the message, but just want to also put out there, I'm offering these like light blast mini readings, and they're $44, and you can email me a question about your chart. So if you want to talk about something in your birth chart, then, you know, I need to have your birth date, location, and time. Or if you just want an oracle read on a topic or something not related with astrology necessarily or the star talk, but just an oracle reading, you can submit one question that way also through email, and I will record a response for you that's going to be very activating in the frequencies transmitted, and also create custom art. So just want to share, that's always an option. It's only $44 for this because I wanted to make things more accessible as we continue with this intensity, right? So I'm just wishing you all the most amazing revelation. Just surrender fully to this deep gutting. You know, you could feel it like eviscerated with some of the stuff where you're like, holy shit, like holy shift, this is mega, you know, but it's all perfectly aligned because we are being completely rewritten and realigned with our most authentic expressions, so that now our outer world will be a pure reflection of that on every level. So this is deep work for that to happen, right? And so for many of us, that may be our financial abundance, you know, translating the energetics of the higher realms here as masters into the material realm to have that financial independence and financial abundance, and aligning with the right organizations and companies and so on to partner with, to collaborate with, you know, for work and creations and all kinds of things. So we have to have that clarity and that pure alignment within so that we can attract that without. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Wishing you an amazing experience this week. And any questions, any support, you can email me. That will be in the description box below. We also all year are having 50% off all of the Solar Logos consciousness courses. So that's all on the Mystery School. And thank you so much also for your beautiful comments and all the love and the feedback. It really makes me feel so wonderful that this is supportive, because I feel very called to do this. And so then to hear how it assists is just like a beautiful gift. And it got me through this month of being in this, you know, linear job where I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, sometimes it would feel very linear. So then to get to see your comments was so awesome. It felt very balancing. So there's, you know, bringing that balance, right, of the mystical and the mundane. So thank you all so much. Giving you big hugs, big Care Bear heart beams radiating out. And I will see you next week. Much love.